Fresh takes. Hello, and hello. Welcome to Don't Involve Me. As I stated before in many episodes, this is going to be an Invincible show. I'm super excited for season 2. And this is honestly one of my favorite comic books, and I'm so excited to cover it, and I'm so excited that you guys get to listen to it. Brandon Klein joins us for this episode, and it's kind of a part 2 of sorts because we started out as doing Gen V and Invincible, but we decided that we talked so much about Gen V that I wanted Invincible to get its own kind of coverage, so we decided to split it. And I think we're going to do an episode each week. We'll see. If anything, we're going to do part 1 and part 2 by itself. But yes, this is the review for Season 2, Episode 1 premiere. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, you know what? Let's get to it. Cue the music. Welcome to Don't Evolve Me, the place like Ash catching Pikachu. We don't evolve, we just level up. This is kind of a part 2 of sorts because we just got done talking about Gen V and we decided to split up Gen V Invincible episode 1. So here we are talking about Invincible episode 1 for season 2. This is officially going to be the Fresh Takes version of this review. So Fresh Takes, get your Fresh Takes here for Invincible. Brandon, hello.
Hello again.
Yeah, I just talked to you for 2 hours, so it doesn't really feel like a hello, but for those
who
listen to Gen V, it's a hello of sorts.
Hello to everyone else.
So yes, we are an Invincible show. I fucking love this comic. We had a premiere, kind of like a season 2 preview 3 or 4 months ago, back in August, I believe.
Yeah,
or July.
A while ago.
Because Adam Eve special dropped. I really wanted to talk about it. I was excited that they dropped it. I was excited for season 2 news. And then it's here's Adam Eve, the special. It's Brandon, we got to talk about it.
And we did talk about it.
We did. So if you want to check out the
state review on Invincible, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. So if you guys want to hear that episode, please check it out. It's the Invincible. I forget the title. You'll see it. It says Invincible on it.
It's in the title.
It's in the title. All right, so Invincible, this is going to be kind of a short-ish review. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Brandon's thoughts. I know what's coming up ahead. I read the comic. It's one of my favorite comics. I read it twice through now. Brandon, you've heard me talk about the comics for many years, and then the show finally came out, and you're like, yep, I understand what you're talking about.
Yep, absolutely.
And now it's back. We finally get season 2, because I think it came out in 2020.
Yeah, it feels like it was a long time ago.
It feels actually really short, which makes me feel old because time's moving so fast the older you get.
2020 doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it does seem like it was a long time that Invincible came out.
In between the stories. But here we are. Season 2 is here. My first question for you is, how excited were you?
Pretty excited. I wasn't exactly aware of when it was going to come out. I haven't been paying that much attention, so it was kind of a nice surprise just to see that the first episode dropped and that I could watch it.
Oh, so you didn't circle the date?
No, I did not have the date circled.
I had 2 dates circled this week. November 3rd for Invincible Season 2, and your birthday, November 1st. Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I only remember your birthday because it's the same day as my cat's birthday.
Oh, well, I was born first, so she has the same birthday as me.
That's fair. I feel bad, but I'm I don't usually remember birthdays that often.
I'm terrible at remembering birthdays.
I remember my family's birthday, but I'm hey, Brandon's birthday today because it's Kiara's birthday. So happy! Are you 30 now?
I am 30 now. I am an old
man. Welcome to the 30 club.
Yep, officially.
Did you were you like me? You immediately woke up in knee pain or some body pain?
No, knock on some wood. Luckily, I've managed to avoid that thus far.
I turned 30 and 5 minutes later I woke up and hey, I'm 30 now, but holy shit, my knee hurts for some random reason. I'm is this what happens? Your body just immediately goes into pain. I never had any
issues. Starts turning on you. just starts turning on you. Luckily, nothing yet, but I'll keep you posted if anything comes up.
Well, I'm happy. Nothing. It's like excruciating pain.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good thing.
Okay, so I was excited. Obviously, it's the Invincible show. It's been 4 years. It's my favorite. One of my. No, I would say it's top three for favorite comics. Invincible Saga, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay.
So let's get into, I have a few questions. We'll go into like the question, the episode, and we'll kind of talk about the episode as I ask these questions. Because there wasn't a whole lot in this episode. It's
It
kind
is
of
only
just
one episode, yeah.
yeah, and it's kind of an origin of sorts, for one
Yeah,
character, and it's a character
absolutely.
that I know very well, but it's the introduction for the most of the world. So, first question is: did you believe that first scene was happening in our reality?
No, I didn't know what
No.
was going on, but I knew that it
My first thought was
wasn't.
like, so Invincible and Immortal, they're fighting back and forth, and
Yeah. I
Invincible.
thought they were like training or something at first.
I thought so too. And then like Omni-Man came out and slices his arm, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. How like this is a multiverse story.
Yeah,
What's your thoughts on like evil Invincible?
terrifying. Honestly,
he's
just
he's
so
so
like cold. Like he breaks Adam Eve's neck and paralyzes her. He's like, "Oh, I
he's so
can't kill you,
he's
so
so
I'll just."
cringe. He's so cringe as like evil though. He's just like, I know you guys think we're the bad guy. Like he talks like he's a high schooler, which I mean makes
Yeah.
sense because he's a high
Oh,
schooler. But it's such plain language. Like I know you guys think we're bad on like the big TV screen, but we're actually doing you good. Think about no cancer. You're gonna be part of an empire. No one's gonna go hungry. And it's like the video through ruins. It's like,
yeah,
oof, this kid does not have the grasp of like what they're doing.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And it's just weird because I'm like, how did he turn? Because like our Mark was so like anti against it, but like this one just seems like very casual about murdering anyone
Yep.
except for like
Oh,
Adam Eve.
but he still, I mean, arguably does something worse to her by
Arguably,
paralyzing her and just leaving her there like that. Like, so in a world like that, I'd probably rather be dead.
oh yeah, almost. So, all right, what's your thoughts on the multiverse?
Well, we lately the multiverse has been a big factor in a lot of things.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I will say that it was interesting. I mean, how they kind of pulled it all together, and I
Mhm.
think that the origin of our new main villain, I presume, was very well done, and like made sense. It really like established a very like sympathetic villain
I agree,
in a sense.
and it very much in the same way as the comics. I think it's. I was watching a Robert Kirkman like interview. He was going through Honest Trailer's version of season one, and he
Mm-hmm.
was like reacting to it, but like he reacted to it like 3.5 years later,
Okay.
and he was talking about like how like, oh, this is so tired. It's like, well, to be fair, I wrote this like 20 years ago.
Right.
So we technically did this first. And I kind of thought about this like this comic was written 20 years ago. The multiverse story wasn't like as tired as it is now.
Oh, well,
But I
yeah,
thought
absolutely.
but it's like its inclusion seems very like ironic because I'm sure someone's like, oh, of course it's the multiverse. Yay, more multiverse stories.
Yeah.
But I do
Yeah.
think I do like how they use the storyline and how they use Angstrom Levy and like he's the only character that can cross into the multiverse, very much in the way of like America Chavez
Mm.
and Doctor Strange. I go on.
I think his like master plan and stuff, like the idea behind it, like his ultimate goal was like essentially multiversal peace.
Yeah,
Like that was his idea, and like fixing all of these universes, and did not want violence at all. In fact, literally almost kills himself and all of himself to try to stop Invincible from dying.
Yeah, he's initially, I know in the comics he didn't want Invincible to be killed. I don't think in the comics he was as peaceful oriented. Like he
Yeah.
was more, I remember him as being more neutral in gaining power, not necessarily more good. I could be
Hmm.
wrong too. I just know they didn't focus on his goals before the accident. But in this episode, I do really like how they focus on his goals. He was just
It made
genuinely,
sense.
yeah, he was a good person. He was like, hey, I'm just going to take the best of all these worlds. I'm going to put them in my
Yeah.
brain, and then we're going to make everything better.
Yep, yep. There's an answer for everything out there. You just have to share the information across the multiverse.
Exactly. All right, so it's revealed that Eve still lives in the woods. In the comics, it's in Africa. She lives in Africa. It's a probably I don't want to say a big change, but definitely a change. She's nearby the town that Mark and that they go to school instead of halfway across the world. Which I don't know how I feel about that's changed,
I
but
guess I don't know how much it's going to matter or not at this point without.
it doesn't matter that much. Just more Eve was trying to like fix her being a superhero was fixing like African villages and making sure they have water, feeding them, housing them,
Like
and kind
actually
of
trying to
building.
like help the people, not
Yeah,
necessarily just like fighting criminals.
and in this one, it's
Yeah.
like I live in the woods. I'm on my own. I'm away from my parents, and I kind of like the comic version of it a lot more.
Yeah.
Amber and Mark are back together as we see.
Yep.
Amber's full like my superhero boyfriend. How do you feel about this couple coming back and then actually seeing them being
I
a
don't know.
couple?
I'll give it another shot. I remember specifically talking in our last podcast about how I
Mhm.
wasn't sold on the relationship by any means through the first
Qu-
season.
First question, my question after it is worst couple ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't give them a chance. They're young kids do
Mhm.
dumb things. Priorities and stuff like that aren't right.
I'm just gonna say this: they're very much the perfect like high school relationship, and I mean
Yeah.
perfect as in like perfect for what a high school relationship is. And I think its development goes where it should go, and I'm
Okay.
going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Uh, Debbie and Mark are both dealing with the repercussions of
The
their
fallout of everything that happened.
yeah, Omni-Man Nolan betraying them, right?
Mhm.
Um, Mark got beaten to bits. Debbie was pretty much told that she's a pet.
Yep.
And in the comics, they have a very focused storyline where she's just drinking herself to death every night. She's just watching, she's just depressed. She's a
Mm.
strong, depressed, like I've been there. I think a lot of people have been there. Whereas in this
Mm.
show, they kind of do something a little bit different. She is still drinking, but she feels like a stronger character,
Yeah. Seems like she's trying to hold it together,
and
even
she
though she's
is,
struggling, but she is doing her best to hold it together.
or she's masking better.
Yeah, that could be it too.
And I like that. I'm like they made her stronger in the first season in season one than in the comics, where she was just kind of like a holding character. She was the mom, but she didn't like she was more weak. Whereas like in this show, she is a stronger character overall.
Mm.
More focus on her. So I just want to. There wasn't much of her story. She talks with Red Rush's
Olga.
ex-wife, Olga.
Olga.
Um, not much happened, but I just wanted to touch up on her character, like because I think you're going to see her character. Her character is going to be has a storyline throughout the comics, and I wanted to touch up on the changes.
Mm.
Another change, robot Rudy is failing. He's struggling as the leader of the Guardians, and he gets replaced
Hmm.
by the Immortal. And I think this storyline wasn't touched upon too much, but it was kind of interesting to see. Like he was kind of just the robot before. He was just playing video games as, um, God, I'm
Uh,
blanking on her
Monster Girl.
character, Monster Girl. Yeah, as she like calls it, is like, hey, you're experiencing fear. Like you are actually in peril here.
Yeah, right. This is if something happens, you'll actually get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike before where you're safe in your thing.
Still in pain, but safe.
Yeah, right, right.
The Mauler twins, still awesome as ever.
Yeah, oh yeah. Still some of
I
the best characters in the show,
I
honestly.
like their characters. I will. I don't think they get much more story after this. I think this is kind of like the end of their like
You
main
don't know
story.
that. You don't know that.
I don't know that. I don't know because they put in other characters, but from like
Yeah.
comic storyline, I don't remember them coming back much, which is sad. But I
I
will say
love
like they're. Oh,
I
go
love
on.
how they're like meathead muscle guys, but they're also like the smartest people, which makes sense
Yeah,
because they clone themselves. Like you had to be pretty damn smart in order to like clone yourself and do all this stuff.
but they
I
talk like
respect
meatheads.
Yeah, I respect the fact that, they are that intelligent.
They're
It's an
smart
interesting change of
brutes.
pace. Yeah. You don't see that too often.
I just realized like one of the characters I'm writing is very much similar to the Muller twins, and I'm just like, ooh, did I take that like that
Nah,
character?
they
Was it
I think the
inspired by?
Mahler twins enjoy violence a bit more than your character does.
That's fair. That is very fair. I like their prison escape though. I like the dialogue of the prison escape with the guards like, hey, back up. And he's like, you should be nice to us. We didn't kill you last time.
Yeah.
We will escape again. And if you're mean to us, we will kill you.
Yeah, if you yeah, and we won't kill you again as long as you give us good food.
I, I just like that bargaining. Me working with like I work with behaviors with kids, and a lot of times like there's a lot of bargaining that goes back and forth, and I just appreciated that back and forth. And it's just immediately there's a portal, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I guess we're out.
and they're like, help. The guy's like, help, they're escaping again. They're like, oh, this was easier than I thought. And I
Yeah.
remember the comics being very similar to that. So, so we get to see Angstrom's story a little bit more, because they brings him to a different universe, and they kind of like make fun of his powers a little bit, and they guess it right on the
Oh
right
yeah,
on the
I like
money.
that too. Yeah.
And I just like how they it shows how smart they are. They
Yep.
understand the context. They're like, oh, we're in a new or we're in a new multiverse. You
But the reason
can't.
why we're so deep below ground, yeah, is because this is the only place you could pull us out.
Yeah, it's like a cool like reveal of powers. Like it's a cool info dump while also like exploring the lore of other characters. Like it was just well written.
I agree.
Um, I like the line where it's like, "Why would we help you?" He's like, "Well, you can help me, or you don't help me. But if you don't help me, I'm just gonna leave you here,
Yep.
or in any other universe that you would want to like." Oh, fair point. We'll follow you.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty fair.
And I just like their lines, like, "Man, I miss working for us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm so
No more
sick of
working for
working for
anybody
us."
else. Yeah.
Because they just got
So
done working for Robot, and now here they are working for another character. But that is what they
yep.
did in the comics. So Mark's trying to get in with why Cecil. He's going through depression. He's fighting other heroes. He's just kind of going through the motions, saving the day. And he's trying to get back. And then immediately they're like, okay, go. Smaller twins are up to something. Go figure it out. They do the experiment with like 100 like other angstroms, and it's like the weirdest experiment you could like possibly jump into.
Yeah, right. You walk into a room with just a bunch of the same person all strapped to some giant machine.
You're just like, what the hell is going on? Either way, I got to stop it. But like, I like how they pin Invincible as like the bad guy here because like in a weird way, he was the bad guy
Oh yeah,
because
I mean,
he stopped something that would be incredibly amazing and
hmm,
turn it into what it's going to be this season.
yep, absolutely. Like caused this, and then the explanation behind it afterwards of him, because like the line he said earlier that in 90% of the universes, Invincible joins Omni-Man. Oh,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
hello,
I'm here.
hello,
Can you hear me? Oh no,
hello.
he
Oh,
lost you.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, it just did
That
the
was weird.
thing.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got kicked that
Did
time
I?
for real.
Oh, okay. You're
I'm
still
back now.
on.
Oh, weird.
Either
Kicked
way.
you that time. But we're back.
Yeah.
But what I was saying was the line that in 90% of the universes, Invincible joins Omni-Man
Mm-hmm.
and takes everybody out. So it makes sense for the majority of the Angstroms out there to have this deep resentment towards Invincible. And once he takes all of their personalities in, now 90% of him has that resentment towards Invincible.
Yeah, and not to spoil too much, but he does like that core, that memory that he has. Like he goes out for revenge. Like he goes from wanting to save Invincible and like taking it off his helmet to like
Yep.
save Invincible to personally having revenge against him. And this, I don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah, don't spoil.
But we're gonna see an arch villain of sorts.
Okay.
And that's as far as I'm gonna go from like what the comics is. And I was surprised that Angstrom Levy was in the first episode, but
Right off the
I
bat,
think
yeah.
right off the bat, but I think it's the right choice because like he is going to be the season 2 villain. Or at least for part 1 that we're going to get. Part 2 I'm not sure, but part 1 he's going to be the villain. And I kind of called that a little bit too in our preview episode.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because I think part 2 goes in a different direction, but we'll see. I don't know. I only know the comics. I have no idea what they're going to do with the show. But I'm excited because I love Angstrom Levy's probably my favorite villain in the comics.
He seems pretty interesting. I'm excited to see what he does with basically infinite knowledge and the power to get anything from anywhere.
And the deep hatred
for
Invincible. And I will say this, the multiverse isn't like the storyline for Invincible. So if you're tired of the multiverse, like this is probably the most multiverse of seasons. Because there is one big story arc with it, but then it kind of goes into it's this universe that we're talking about.
Okay.
I just wrote in my notes, plants for revenge. Not plans, plants.
gotta get those greens.
Gotta get those greens. All right, what was your thoughts on the first episode?
I thought it was great. I think it did a good job introducing a new villain that I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. I was curious how they were going to handle the fallout after the last season and kind of exploring Invincible's or Mark's kind of like trauma and like almost PTSD, like when he is sees those supervillains fighting and like the buildings like collapsing. And he has like a flashback of being held through that train and killing all those people and just seeing the damage that he was a part of, even though he didn't directly cause it, but he was there destroying all those buildings and stuff in Chicago.
Or just him talking about it, like, you know, he kind of revealed that like he has survivor's guilt.
Yep.
Hardcore survivor's guilt. He has to like be talked about like, you didn't kill those people.
Right.
But you hear him say like, but I didn't save them. They still die by my hand or my face.
My arms.
My body, my whole face just being shoved into a train and everyone's, you know, dying as I can see it all. Like that's fucking traumatizing as hell.
Oh yeah.
You know, especially when you are a hero, you have that hero complex and you want to save everybody. Being like the object that murders.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's bad. What rating would you give this?
I think a solid 4 for sure.
Solid 4. I was thinking 3+ range. But maybe I'm under it. I thought it was good. Maybe 4-.
I think the stuff with Angstrom Levy is what really, I don't know. I think introducing a villain and having like proper time to really give you some background and an origin and stuff like that, I think that does wonders for a story.
Maybe I'm being too harsh on it because I will say, like, when I think about this episode, it was a table setting episode for like the heroes, but also the perfect origin story for what's going to be a bigger villain.
Yep. And the way it led right into it, like showing like the world after what happened in the other universes, showing like Mark joining with Invincible and kind of like laying the groundwork for like what could have happened and what other places are experiencing and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think it was a good job.
All right, I'm curious because I like the dynamic that we have. We're both big fans of it. but I'm like a super fan who knows kind of like where the story's going. You, for the most part, don't, from like other than maybe what you might have watched on YouTube or what I've told you a little
I
bit.
really haven't done a lot of digging. Yeah, pretty much just from
Okay,
what you've told me.
where do you think the story's going?
That I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, Levy is going to try to get to Invincible somehow, but
Yep.
how he's going to do that, I have no idea.
The I know
The
there's a couple.
opportunities and the potential, like, I don't know, like he could gather a whole army from the multiverse kind of thing to come after
Mhm.
him. I mean, he almost had him killed just because of the maulers that he had suck on him. They almost killed him.
I'm excited because like yeah, I'm like, whoa, wait, what do I say? What do I don't say?
Yeah.
I'm excited for it because what happens in the comics is pretty grand in scale, but there's also scenes that are small and personal,
Okay.
and yeah, it's a fun ride. It really is. Angstrom Levy is like there's a lot of other villains that we'll see moving forward that are amazing. There's a lot of amazing villains in this show, in this comic, and going to be in this show. Omni-Man being one of them.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
But Angstrom Levy is probably my favorite, but he's not like the biggest one, but he's the most personal almost.
Yeah. I mean, he feels, I don't know, like they made him really sympathetic, like at least in the show, to where you
Mm-hmm.
feel like he was a real person that actually, the path to hell is paved with good intentions kind of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, and I feel like that's very much kind of the road that he's gone down.
All right,
Started as, trying to do something heroic and turns into something far
for
less
sure.
heroic.
All right, I have two more questions for you, and then we can call it good for
Okay.
this episode. All right, when will Mark start being a good hero? When do you think he's going to start actually becoming a great hero? Because he fucking sucks. It seems like.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's a confidence thing, probably.
Yeah,
You know, I think
I
he's
will.
got to. The trick is he got to find his own way to be his good hero. I
Mhm.
don't think that listening and doing exactly what Cecil says is the right path for him either necessarily,
Yeah,
but he's
I
got to
like that
figure
you.
that out for himself.
I like you say that because the comic does touch on that a little bit, and I will say it is very intentional that he sucks because this whole storyline is about how he becomes great,
Okay, that makes
and
sense.
so and
Everyone's
I'm
got to start
excited for
somewhere.
it. And I think
Another real quick thing that I got to mention. I loved the fact that they said Invincible probably 20 times in this episode. And they
oh,
saved the title card for the very end. And then
thank you for
finally, the
bringing that.
last time they said it, and it title carded. Yeah, that was
Thank you
great.
for bringing that up because
Yep.
that I completely forgot I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
I didn't write it down. That was because
Like
I thought
20
the same
times.
thing.
Like every
They,
time there's like they lead up to it like you think it's gonna title card, and then nope, they just say
they're
Invincible.
they're fucking with you. They're fucking
Yep.
with us this entire episode. They know it annoyed people, so they did it on purpose.
Yeah. And then the very last one, I can't even remember who it was. Was it the Mauler talking about it, or was it Levy that
I
said
think
it?
it was Levy, yeah,
Yeah, and then we got
and
the
then
Invincible title card.
that was great because
It
like
was.
the in the trailer they actually did it the first time. So when they first say Invincible on the screen, remember we are boom. That's where the trailer cuts. So like
Hmm.
during the episode, I was like, all right, it's gonna cut here, and like, oh, they said it,
Yeah, it
and
was
then they
like
kept
jarring
doing it.
every time they said it. It was like jarring.
But they stopped in the speech, like like blah 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 blah, Invincible. It's like you
Yep. Oh yeah, they did.
motherfuckers,
Yeah, every
you
time.
know what you're doing.
Yeah, every
I
time.
love it.
Yeah.
I think it's really smart and brilliant that they're just fucking with us because they know
Yeah.
people were complaining about it, and I like that they're like, you know what, we're gonna keep going. A little bit
Yep.
tidbit for you. You want to know why Omni Man has a mustache?
Why does Omni-Man have mustache?
Okay, so the creators Corey Walker and Robert Kirkman, when they made the show, they wanted Omni Man to be like the dad, and both their dads had mustaches growing up. So they decided to give Omni Man a mustache because like when they think of fatherhood, they think of a man with a mustache. So and they're like, you know what? We're just gonna make it a whole like a culture thing for Viltrumites. Like culturally, you just grow a mustache. Like you are known to have a mustache. And they're
Mhm.
like, and like Robert Kirkman, he's like, you know what? Is it silly? Yeah, it kind of is silly. But you know what? We had fun with it. Fuck it. It's a thing now.
Yeah, it might be a little silly, but it definitely like it works.
I like
Like
it.
they're alien species, like it's within the realm of like you can suspend your disbelief for an alien race all having mustaches.
I wish the ladies in the species, and I guess
I
this
had
is
mustaches too.
spoiler, that had mustaches. It would just be hilarious. But I think
That would be
they
funny.
were thinking it was like a little bit too much.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Last question, then we'll end this. Which character are you rooting for the most?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And if your answer is Mark, I feel like that's okay. But I'm gonna ask you what's your like non-Mark.
Nah, I think you know there's definitely I think they did a good job, building up Levy to the
Mm-hmm.
point where like you almost want some sort of good ending or something. Obviously he's going down a bad path now, but I feel like it'd be interested to see if he's gone completely in the dark side and it's just like completely gone, or if there's any salvaging what he was kind of thing.
Oh, I'm yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah, don't say anything. Yeah, don't say
It's
anything.
weird when I know the answer because like the
Yeah,
show's
yeah,
gonna mostly go with like the comics, but it's great. I
yeah,
think the character I'm rooting for, like Mark, is definitely like the character I root for the most because he's the main character, obviously. But the other character, Levy's up there, but I'm gonna say Muller twins. I just straight up like
yeah,
enjoy them anytime they're
yeah,
on. I don't. I think this is the last major storyline with them. I don't remember them being in anything else, which is sad. But this is a show; they're doing something a little bit different. I think they might be back more often than I think they will be.
yeah.
Which
I
doesn't
hope
make
so.
sense. That's an oxymoron of a statement. I'm going to call myself out there. I think they're going to be more important than I think they are. That doesn't work. Okay. They're gonna,
You think they're going to be more important than they were in the comics?
yes. Yes. If the show follows the comics, then this is the last storyline. But I think they're so popular. I think they're going to bring them a little bit more.
Have them thrown in the mix a little bit more here or there.
God damn it. Oxymoron statements. All right. Anything else you want to say on Invincible's episode 1?
I don't think so. I think we talked about it. I'm very excited to see the next one. What day does it come out? Is it Thursdays?
I think it's every. It might be
Friday?
Thursdays. I think it was Friday, but it came out a day early.
Okay. Well, I'll
So
be looking forward to watching it next week,
I am too, and
especially
I
now that
know.
Gen V is over.
So yeah, we gotta figure out if we're gonna do each episode or if we're just gonna wait to part 4. But we'll talk about that after we're done recording.
Yeah.
So all right, this is it. This is Brandon Klein. Thank you for joining us. This is Jake Sherbing, the host for Don't Involve Me. And yeah, this episode was the